Hey guys, this is Sandra with Will 57. Thank you so much for joining me. I had started working in my junk journal. As you can see, I'm behind, which is, par for course. This is a spread from Christmas time when I did a sleepover with my grandchildren, Grinch themed sleepover. So I'm just sorting out my ephemera here. I'm figuring out what I want to use in it. I've got pictures already done, ready to go. This was from a packaging from some Grinch mugs that I got for hot chocolate. So I just stapled that down to use as a pocket. That color sheet is a flip up, as you can see. And these hearts were from a game that I had downloaded, and we had played games, some free Grinch games that we'd found online. So I cut those out because I had kind of an idea of what I could do with those. And then I'm just kind of looking through the pictures and figuring out what I want to do. These are some coloring sheets that we had done. So I want to just fold them up and put them in that pocket. However, they were too tall, so I folded them again so they wouldn't stick out too far and cover that picture. And the rest of that stuff, I just didn't know what I wanted to do with it. So looking at the pictures again, and I come up with an idea, so I'm mapping it out. And my idea is to have the Grinch give us advice on how to have the most horrible Grinchmas sleepover ever. And so I'm just kind of mapping out what advice would the Grinch give us. And then I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to implement my idea. And I end up going with some green paper, as you see here. And I cut out a front kind of a label that says how to have the most horrible Grinchmas sleepover ever, according to the Grinch. And I glue that down. And then I take that same green paper and I cut me out a little tab that shows that you lift that coloring page of the Grinch up to see the rest of the spread. And I stapled that on there. And I write lift here. And then with the rest of that green paper, I decide that's where I'm going to write down 6 different points of advice from the Grinch. And I'm trying to figure out where to write, and it isn't going to work on top of the journal, so I have to move the journal. I don't want any bleed through. So, number 1. Oh, I realize it doesn't fit the page. It's too big, so I rip it. I hope this finds you all doing well. Number 1, I write, invite your meanest friends and tell them to wear their most hideous outfits. Number 2, you put up your worst decorations. Number 3, you make the nastiest food and snacks. Number 4, play some terrible games and activities. Number 5, you watch the most awful movie. Again, this is advice from the Grinch. And then 6, last but not least, have absolutely zero fun. And then I wrote, according to the Grinch. I was going to put that on the cover, but then I end up just writing it under the label that I had already glued on. to save room. But this is me trying to map things out, figure out where I want things. And lo and behold, as I'm mapping it out, I quickly figure out that I'm not going to have room for any of the pictures if I do it like this. So that's when I came up with the idea to do it on the back of that flip out part of it. Start up there. I can't find the number 1. I finally found it. And I glue it down. And then I take the pictures that I go according to his advice. And then I just glue them all down. And unfortunately, somewhere along the way, it stopped recording and I didn't even know it. But I will do a slowed down walkthrough of it all here in just a minute. So I'm just going along, putting down his advice and then the pictures that correspond with that advice. And this is the final result. As you can see, I added some doodles there. And the green paper there is for me to do some journaling on. So anyway, that spread is done. And then I move on to the next one on my list, which is a picture of my granddaughter wearing her cardboard crown that we made her. And she wore it into Wendy's one day when we went to eat. And it was just really cute. So I'm going to document that. And I have some stickers. I don't remember. I think the stickers came from the Amazon, wish list book that you get. And I wanted a pink background for our princess. So I found some pink paper. And I cut it down to size. Well, I think I actually glue it first. And yes, I keep my glue in an old honey jar. Because I buy glue when it goes on sale for school in the gallon for like the teachers. So anyway, I got the pink down and now I'm just kind of placing things where I want them. I zoomed in a little bit here so you can see a little better what I'm doing. And that sticker was stuck to her old receipt, so I cut it out. And then I start gluing things down. But she wore that crown so proud the whole time we were in Wendy's. She's so fun. But this is a really simple one. Nothing too hard. Most of my spreads are rather simple. Sometimes I go a little bigger, but seeing time 6 months behind, I really don't have time to. Go all out. And then I did some journaling on there. Paused it and journaled. Now I'm writing the date. And I'm pretty sure I put 2006 on that. But oh well. And then on to the next spread was my husband's 60th birthday. And this is some of the ephemera that I had left from some of his decorations. And then I went and found some paper that went with his present. He got a knife that he wanted from Montana Knife Company. We all went in together and bought him a really nice one. And so I got some of that paper, and I'm just kind of getting a plan together. I staple those two pieces together. Again, I'm just trying to map it out. Time to make a plan. So I start cutting pictures apart. You know, you can play with pictures all day. Play with this stuff all day in 1,000 different directions. At some point, you just got to make up your mind and do it. Trim the end of that off. And then I cut a little bit more of it off. It was just a big piece and kind of hard to work with. Again, positioning pictures and figuring out what I want. Decide that those two are going to be better if they're cut in half. And then I just go for it. You know, enough is enough. Indecisions, time to end. So then I start playing again with the pictures. What to do, what to do. And then again, you just got to go for it. So I zoom in again. I staple some of the pictures on that piece. And then I glue down the other two on the page. And then I take out one of my markers and I kind of do some doodling around the pictures. And then I write here, happy birthday, Pop Pop, because that's what our grandkids call him. And then I put a hole there and find an eyelet to put in there, and that way that is movable and I can write underneath of it for his birthday. It was his 60th birthday, and I'm usually gone on mission trips during his birthday because his birthday is like 3 days after Christmas, and I usually leave the day after Christmas on a mission trip. So we had his birthday a little early, as usual, but this was the 60th, so we went a little bigger. And then I did some gessoing off camera on that, and then I did some writing underneath. And then on to the next page. I went and found me some Christmas papers. And again, this one is a very simple spread, not very hard at all. I just glued down the paper that I found, cut off the excess. And then I just took the pictures. It's a picture of me and my husband sitting in front of one of our Christmas trees. I have like 8. And I'm not exaggerating. They're all little though. But each one has a different theme. I love Christmas. And this was actually Christmas Eve. This wasn't actually Christmas. This was documenting Christmas Eve that we always have at his sister's house. I decided that the glue was not going to work on that type of paper. I was afraid it wouldn't work anyway. They're shiny. So I got out the double-sided tape for these. But anyway, we have Christmas Eve at his sister's house, and we play games and eat a lot of food. You know, Christmas. So them are some more of the pictures from it. And I just kind of map out where I want them. And then I go through and double side tape on all of those. Like I said, this is not a complicated spread at all. But it's in there, and it's a sweet memory. And that's all that matters. And then, as you can see, it says Merry Christmas above that big picture. And then over to the side, the word Eve is showing. It's actually the end of Believe, but, you know, it works. So it says Merry Christmas Eve. So I outlined that with green. And then I write the date. I may have done 2006. I'm not. No, actually I didn't. I did 2005. And then I just write a little note up there. And I dry the ink so it doesn't smear. And I believe that is all the pictures that I have printed. So that's the last one I'll be able to do. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you.